Okay, so after over a year and a half of waiting, the Divergent movie finally came out, and I'm finally able to film a review and talk about all of my feelings toward it. I've already seen the movie 3 times. First time I saw the movie, I saw it at the showing premiere on March 5th. At the premiere, I got a lot of free stuff. I got the Divergent movie illustrator companion. I got a Divergent yoga mat. I got like some buttons. I got a nice tote bag. I got a lot of free stuff. I did not get to meet Shay and Theo, but they walked right past me. I was 5 feet away from Shailene Woodley and Theo James. And I got advance tickets, and I got some Dauntless chocolate cake that they made that came from Loblaws. So totally worth the wait. I waited 13 and a half hours in line, and it was worth every minute of it. Then, I saw the movie for a second time on March 21st, when the movie officially came out. Then, I saw the movie for the 3rd time, again on Thursday, with my family. So, basically what I thought of the movie, the first time I saw it, I was pretty disappointed, and I thought they could have done a lot, I don't think they could have done a lot better. I was just disappointed in Shailene Woodley's performance, and I was always a big fan of Shailene. When I first cast her, I was iffy about it. Then I watched her in The Descendants, and I loved it. And I loved Kate Winslet from the moment she was cast. And I was, slightly disappointed by the performances. Now, I loved Peter's performance, and Eric's, and Will's. I didn't have a lot of hope in Theo James. I thought he was too old. I didn't know how well he was going to do with fur. And then when I saw him as fur, he did a really good job. He really was fur. But overall, I was disappointed by it. I still really enjoyed it, but I was disappointed. But then seeing it a second time and a third time in a different frame of mind, knowing what I'm going into, knowing that it's not going to be the exact same as is in the book. Divergent being my favorite book, I had a lot of high hopes for this movie. My hopes were pretty much unreachable. So second time I watched it, I loved it so much more. I liked the acting more, I liked the script more, I liked the music more. So I rate this movie a 5 out of 5 stars still, because I really did enjoy it. I was just disappointed the first time I saw it. So that's it for all of my non-spoilery section of this. So if you haven't seen the movie, bye-bye! Go watch the movie and then come back here. Also, I'm going to spoil things in the book too. I'm going to talk about the next 2 books too. So do not come back until you've read the series and seen the movie. Bye, spoiler people! Okay, so my biggest concern with the movie, I'm going to talk about what I didn't like first, then I'm going to talk about what I did like, because as a fan of the book, I need to nitpick. I can't help it. I don't want to, but I do. Now, I made the mistake of rereading Divergent before seeing the movie, so I noticed tiny little details that were in the book that weren't in the movie. They kept changing the order of things. In the book, we have Capture the Flag, the knife-throwing scene, then Al commits suicide, then we find out that Fur is Tobias, and then she goes to aid it to Caleb. In the movie, we have the knife-throwing scene, Capture the Flag, visiting Caleb, Al's suicide, and then finding out she's Divergent. Finding out the Fur is Tobias. So that was all different. And I didn't like how they took out that Edward got stabbed. I guess when I look at it now, it's not a very big thing in the it's a big thing in the book, but it doesn't really change the plot. It only changes our perspective on Peter and how crazy Peter actually is. In the movie, Peter was a little bit more, I don't know. I think Peter did really well in the movie, actually. He was just less iconic. But they took that out. And another thing they took out is that they took out the hard drive, which is a really important part of in the next 2 books. We need the hard drive for Insurgent. the hard drive is one of the most important things in Insurgent. Where was the hard drive? And it also plays an important part in the reason why they go beyond the fence in Allegiant. So, they gotta do something with that when they do Insurgent. I knew I wasn't gonna be in the movie, so it wasn't a big... I was disappointed when I first found out, but I had gotten over it since then. I was disappointed in Kate Winslet only because I thought she was a little too nice as Janine. Janine is my least favorite fictional character of all time. Like, there's no one in literature, in media, and anything that I hate more than Janine Matthews. So, seeing Kate Winslet play a sort of nice side to Janine, I didn't really enjoy that. Now, she did do her justice towards the end of the film. I also didn't like how we didn't know that Peter... We knew that, like, in the book, we know that Peter, Al, and Drew are the ones who try and push Tris over the chasm. They do have that scene in the movie, and we do know it's Al, but we don't know that it's Peter. Only people who have read the book actually know that it's Peter. My biggest issue with Shailene Woodley as Tris is that I actually had a lot of faith in her. I thought she was going to do really well after seeing her in The Descendants. And then I saw this spectacular now, and I kept thinking she's going to do amazing as Tris. Seeing her in the trailers, in the TV spots, in previous clips, I kept thinking, you're going to do so good as Tris. First time I watched it, I didn't like her as Tris that much. Like, she did grow on me the second and third time I watched it. I just felt she was a little too much of a pushover, kind of. Like, she didn't really show the badassness that's in Tris. Like, I don't really know what it was. Maybe because I've seen Shailene Woodley in so many interviews, and I kind of know how Shailene is. I had a hard time seeing Shailene not as Shailene Woodley. So that's probably my issue. But seeing it again, I did like a performance more. I could see something she said. I was like, that's my girl. That's pretty badass. So she did go on me when I watched the movie again and again. Now I'm going to talk about what I did like. Something that I really did like is how many book quotes they had. I mean, not exactly book quotes, but they're pretty much word for word as how it is in the book. In the book, the night before the tomb ceremony, Caleb says, we have to think of the family. You have to think of the family, but you must also think of yourself. And in the movie, he says, we have to think of the family. But we still have that quote. We still have that moment of Caleb telling her that it's okay to think about yourself, that you need to put yourself first. It's human nature to think of the family too for you, but it's okay to think of yourself. I loved that scene. I loved the choosing ceremony. I could feel the actual tension in it. There was too much Janine in the movie. I also didn't like that. Too much Kate Winslet. But I liked Kate Winslet, but there's too much Janine. The scene when Tris is running to catch the train, I was like shaking. I'm like, come on, Tris, come on, get that train, come on, you're gonna miss it. Even though I knew she was going to get it, it was still like anxious, and I was anticipating, and it was freaking me out. So I also was like shocked by how big the gap was between the train and the building. And I pictured it only to be like maybe a foot, when it was less than a foot, when it was probably about 3 or 4 feet long. That was like, oh my god. And then I love the scene when she jumps into the net and he grabs her and he has to welcome to Dauntless. I love that scene. I love Peter's dialogue the entire movie. We always have Peter in the background, like before she jumps off the building and she takes off her jacket and says, "Hey, Steph, take it off. Hey, put it back on." Like we always had a little bit of Peter in the background, which I loved. I loved Eric's performance. Eric was so good. He was different than how I pictured Eric in the book, but he was still perfect. Like, I don't think they could have had a better Eric, even though he's not how he is in the book. I love the way Jai Courtney took his character and made it his own. And made it... I don't know. I really love Eric in the books. I think he's such a cool character. And I think Eric was so good in the movie. You were like, oh my god, you're such a dick. And you kind of like afraid of him a little bit. And I loved that. I love the scene when they're in the cafeteria and Tris asks for if he was a faction transfer. And like Will's face is like, oh my god, I can't believe she's doing this. And I laughed at Will's face he made. Then I laughed when Fur says, what gives you the way to talk to me? And then I laughed when Triss like, oh, it's because you're so approachable. And then Christina says, you have a death wish. And it was all like, it was a very humorous scene, and I really enjoyed that. I loved the scene when Eric pushed Christina over the chasm. I thought that was so cool because it was one of my favorite scenes in the book, and it was still in the movie, and it was just pretty intense. I loved how when Fur first saw Christina, that conversation they have is almost exactly like how it is in the book. So there were so many book quotes, I can't even keep track of them all. I love at the beginning of the movie Triss's whole monologue she has describing what the factions are and describing what happened into the war and how she doesn't feel she belongs. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really well done, especially for people who haven't read the book. It helps clear things up. I really enjoyed the Ferris wheel scene. I thought that was really well done. Again, almost exactly like the book was. Some of the quotes were word for word. And it was exactly how I pictured it when she's standing there. It was so well done. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the ziplining scene. I know I'm going all over the place here. I'm trying to go in chronological order, but it's not happening. I really enjoyed Triss's Dauntless montage, when you can see her slowly and slowly getting better as initiation progresses. Oh my gosh! In the book, like, my favorite character, it was always a tie between Triss and Will. I loved Will so much. And I loved Will from the very first line he says in the book, when she's shooting a gun and she keeps missing the targets, and Will says, statistically speaking, you should have hit at least one of them by now, even by accident. And I loved that. Then in the movie, they had that exact book, that exact book where it was directly word for word as how it is in the book, and I loved that. Like, every time I hear it, I get all excited. I also love how we can clearly see there's a rivalry between Fur and Eric. It was just, I love Fur and Eric's rivalry in the books, and in the movie, it completely did it justice. It was amazing. Also, when I was reading the books, all I wanted to have was a Fur and Eric fight. I wanted there to be a fight that Fur and Eric had. I wanted there to be like a love fight going on. We didn't exactly get one in the movie, but it was close enough. Like, they had a little, like, gunfight going on there when they were playing Capture the Flag, and it was satisfying. It made me happy. It was perfect. Oh, I didn't really like how Triss didn't win any fights. That kind of bothered me, how she, like, in the book, how she progressively gets better. Like, she went to a fight between her and Molly, and in the movie, she didn't. I found it really cool how in the movie, like, almost anything they did, they could get kicked over. Eric was all like, oh, you do this and you're out. You do this and you're out. Triss lost her fight with Peter, and he says that she's out. Then, that's happening as they're going to go play Capture the Flag. And Triss is running to get on the train, and she jumps on, and Eric's all, well, what are you doing? Who let you out? And then she said that she let herself out. And Eric just says, okay. And he walks away. Now, my friend, I didn't realize it to the second time when my friend pointed out to me that the reason why Eric is so cool with her staying on the train, even after he said that she's out, is because Dauntless never give up. He tells us through the entire movie, we don't give up, Dauntless, don't give up, you don't give up. So, I really enjoyed how they had that. It just showed that Triss, actually, like, she wouldn't give up. She just kept pushing herself. She wasn't going to let Eric tell her that she was out of Dauntless because she lost a fight with Peter. Now, I also really enjoyed the ending. It was pretty close to how it was in the book. Some things were a little bit, like, over the place, like in the book, her mom dies before Will dies, and in the movie, Will dies before her mom dies. But whatever. I actually really enjoyed Will's death a lot more in the movie. Well, not enjoy it. I can saw my eyes out when he died in the book. But, because I loved Will. But in the book, it's a little bit unclear that she kills Will. Like, it's clear, but I had to reread it, and I know other people that had to reread it. Because it's like, wait, did she just kill Will? Because it feels like it kind of came out of nowhere. In the movie, she sees Will, and she's shouting his name, Will, 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 over and over again, trying to get him out of the simulation. And I loved that. I loved the scene where Eric has a gun for his head, And then Trish points the gun at his head, and he says, "You're gonna shoot me." And she says that people underestimate her character. Again, book quotes. Again, fantastic scene. And he's all like, "Oh, stiff." And then he realizes that it was Fern, and he says, "Oh, 2 stiffs." And he's all excited, and he's pretty excited by it. And then Trish shoots him, and then they bring him and Fern Trish into the room with Janine. And that's when we really see Janine become Janine. When she grabs her hand and she like pushes and like she digs her finger into where Trish got shot. I loved it when Phil like tried to attack her. It was the best. I absolutely loved that. Then when we see Janine again, she's still very much like Janine. And first in the simulation, I love that scene. How Trish keeps pushing herself at her, trying to tell him over and over again. She kept saying, "It's me, it's me, it's me," trying to get him into the simulation. I love that scene. I loved it in the book too. It was so good. It was so well done. We have that huge fight between Trish, Fur, and all the Erudite, and they're all fighting each other, and Janine's trying to like control the simulation, and then Trish just like throws that knife into her hand, and I was like, "Yes, you go!" It was so good. And then like Trish is trying to get Janine to turn it off, and Janine keeps saying that she won't do it. Then Trish puts her into the simulation and just has her like let land in there about being Divergent because she's so badass. And it's like, oh my god, so good. And oh, I like it how when she tells Peter to show them where they're like manipulating all the simulations, and he goes, "You won't shoot me," and she's just like, "Why do people keep saying that?" Because again, like, it's pretty. She says something similar to that in the book, and it was like, oh my god, there's another book quote, and I really enjoyed that. And then I like it at the very end when Peter, Marcus, Fern, Trish, and Caleb are running to catch the train, and we have a little moment that we can tell how strong Trish and Fern's relationship is, where he tries to help onto the train, and she says, "I can do it," and he responds, "I know you can." It just shows how strong the relationship is. That whole like last line, Trish's whole little monologue she has, is exactly how it is in the book, which I really enjoyed. Also, Fern says that with her parents dying, is that it was the one way that they could show her how much they really loved her, and that is talked about repeatedly in Allegiant. So many times they talk in Allegiant about how to show somebody that you truly love them is to die for them, which in the end, spoiler for Allegiant, as at the beginning, I'm going to spoil some stuff in Allegiant, so I'm going to do it right now, spoiler, which is why Trish dies for Caleb, to save Caleb in the end. And I loved that. I thought it was really, I loved how they had that, because it shows a little bit of foreshadowing into the next few books. I also like it when they're trying to catch the train, and Fro's just like holding onto the railing, and then you see Marcus running after him, calling him, "Son! And you can see Fro like contemplate, like, should I help him? I don't know, maybe I should. I probably should. Do I want to? But and then like he does help him. Oh, also when Andrew, Trish, Caleb, and Marcus are heading into Dauntless, I love how Caleb runs. I love how Andrew portrayed Caleb, because it was pretty much exactly how I pictured Caleb running. It was amazing. I loved it. I also really enjoyed it for his field landscape. I know other people who had complaints because it was like him showing her how a Dauntless would respond in a certain simulation, but I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really a really interesting take on it, because in the book, we don't really understand why he shows her his field landscape. Aside from why they call him Fur, and aside from what his real name is, we don't really know. He actually has a reason for it in the movie, which I really enjoyed, and I found it was pretty clear. Everything in it was pretty clear. I didn't like how he wasn't that scared. He didn't really seem scared when he was in it. He was pretty calm, but it's just a little thing. I really enjoyed it. I feel like that comes out of nowhere. Every time I watch that movie, I go, oh yeah, they're going into it right now. I was annoyed that Janine was there when she went into her field landscape. Why is Janine there when she's going into her field landscape? I didn't really care that they took out 2 of her fears, because the movie's already 2.5 hours long. They can't add everything. So you need to take things out. They kept in the main fears that she has. overall, I think it was a really well done adaptation. I really did love it. I just have to, my expectations were just way too high. I wish I didn't have them as high as I did, because I think if I would have had them as low as I had it for City of Bones, I would have loved it. I did love it. Like, I also really loved City of Bones, and I didn't have really high expectations of City of Bones, because I didn't really like the book that much. Like, I liked the rest of the Mortal Instruments series, I just didn't love City of Bones. But, you know, but second time watching Divergent, I knew what I was going into, and I liked it so much more. So I do really love the movie. I can't wait for Insurgent. I can't wait to see the movie again, actually. I'm hoping Insurgent's going to be amazing. Good luck to who's ever in that screenplay, because I know they're going to change things, because too much happens in that book. And they need to bring us up with the hard drive. They might just, I think they're going to cut Edward's character completely, because it will kind of make sense, because he doesn't really do anything in Divergent. He's kind of a nobody. And my another complaint I have is that they didn't have any Donald's chocolate cake. That was disappointing, because we had a still with it. They had Donald's chocolate cake in the stills, and they didn't have any in the movie. That was upsetting. But if you have the chance, go to Loblaws and get Donald's chocolate cake. It's really delicious. I love it. It's so good. I had like 3 pieces the night of the premiere. So, go ahead, that stuff is good. But overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I recommend everyone to go see it. Again, I'm going to say I rated it 5 out of 5, because I still really loved it. And if you watch it the first time and you're disappointed, you need to give it another chance, because it's better the second time. It really is. So, that's all I need to say about it. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!